All right? Okay, now let's get to programming. Let's make this thing live. Come alive. All right? Now, first of all, do you have any questions on the theory? Questions on the theory before we get going to the practice. And then you guys are going to mold the next practice session. What do you want? Do you want new exercises? Do you want me to explain any one particular category of exercises? Do you want to focus more on programming? Do you want protocols? Do you want modalities? Number one, does anybody have any questions on functional training, what it is, what it's not, its play in the industry, certifications, anything before we get going to the practical? If you don't do it now, it's going to be the world according to me, and it's not always exciting. Yes, sir?
Will there ever be a certification on functional training, in your opinion? Should there be?
The question is, will there ever be a certification on functional training? And the answer is without a doubt. Number one, the closest thing that the industry has is the National Academy of Sports Medicine. They are the first ones to come out and recognize function. They don't have the market cornered on knowledge by any stretch, but they were the first ones to the plate. You got to give them the props for that. They have some good stuff. They have some stuff that I differ on, you know, that I don't agree with, but that's fine. Doesn't make me right, doesn't make them right. It's just differences of opinion. I just came back from Dallas. The National Strength and Conditioning Association, the Certification Commission just joined, so you can see how slow things move. Here's the synopsis of 36 hours. Yes, the topic is warranted. It will be added to the certification of the NSCA Certified Personal Trainer. I'm now coming up with 7 questions to be added to that 140 question exam. So they deemed that it's an appropriate and very important issue, so they're allocating about 7 questions. Okay, we got safety issues, we have special population issues, we got a lot of issues. So with all the issues, if every issue takes 7 and we have, 20 issues, there you have it. Each issue gets 7 questions. I'm happy with the 7. Here's the kicker. I'm coming up with the questions now. By the way, the design of the question and how they validate the question, how they ask it, the possible distractors, it is a science. It is beyond anything you would think that an organization would take into account to develop a test. So in terms of the validity of the test, nothing comes close to the NSCA. What they do to make that test right is beyond anything that anybody would even tackle. And just boring at times like you wouldn't believe. But anyways, with that being said, the questions that I'm designing now will come up in 2009, 2010. That's how slow tradition moves. It moves real steady, but real slow. By the time those questions make it to 2010, they may be wrong. Or we may have found better ways. That's why I like being self-published. You bring up an issue, I make a correction on my book, I take it to Printco and say, hey, by the way, the next issue, correct this. And you're getting real live information. Yes? Because I'm not an organization that size, I don't have a board of directors, I don't have a body of work, I don't have a research body of nothing but scientists that help solidify the science. As slow as they may move, it's still a wonderful organization with solid stuff. I can't do it. I can't do it. And I just can't bring myself to the point where it's the world according to me. That just gives me like the creepies, So I like to be the maverick on, off to the side saying, hey, and stirring up the stuff. Making people think and changing my mind on the dime. And that kind of liberty is worth everything to me. That's what keeps me free to create. I get involved in that, then I got to substantiate it with science. Before you know it, I'm in shackles, and I don't want to do that. I'll support. Let those people that live in libraries, in classrooms, and in labs, let them handle that, because that's not me. Great question. Thank you for asking that. But it's coming. And we're even talking about a sub-certification, or in other words, a specialty certification, all right, on functional training. That's coming. We're pushing for that, and that can happen relatively quick. Any other questions? Come on. You mean I've done that good a job? Yes, sir.
A lot of our clients obviously are more interested in, or they think they're in body composition change.
Yes, sir.
Things like that. How comfortable are you marrying the two things? Somebody who just wants to get leaner or lose weight, and then also working in the functional thing.
Okay, cool. The question is, how do we integrate the aesthetic look into the performance look? When people have issues or desires to look better and change their body composition. How do we temper that with the importance of movement? It's easy. Aesthetic training is relatively easy. Anything will work. From functional training to gymnast, all the way to bodybuilding. How much change you want to create will pull you in one direction or the other. So nice aesthetics can be derived from movement just about anyway. Question is, the real aesthetic issue is right here. I'm coming up with a new design of a body piercing issue. It's just like a big pierce here with a lock that only I have the key. So I slap that lock on your mouth and I'll say, come back tomorrow. I'll open up for a little while, close it back again, because that's the only thing that's going to work. Body composition at the end of the day is a nutritional issue. It has nothing to do with exercise. Or let's put it this way. Nothing is a big word. Relatively little to do with exercise. Why? How many calories do we need to burn, how many hours do we need to burn 1,000 calories in, say, walking? Do the numbers. At 150-pound person, it's about 125 calories per mile. Do the numbers. That 150-pound person's got to walk about, what, 7 or 8 miles? Who's doing that these days? All right, that's the price you have to pay for one mistake at Burger King. And I'm not talking about one meal. I'm talking about either the shake or the burger. You want to slap those two things together and add the fries, you're going to be walking for 3 days just to come to zero. So when we live in a society where food is in the gas station, food is at the doctor's office, you go to the doctor's office, what are they offering you? Coffee, cookies, all right? We go to our dentist, he's fixing teeth. What do I have there? Cookies. And fresh made too. They make them right on the premises. It's like, you set them up, we knock them down, baby, you know? What do you think? How do we value an experience? The abundance of food. Go to a party and have nothing but broccoli, carrots, fat-free dressing and see what the people say about it. It sucked. Go to another party and have an open buffet of ribs, sirloin, lobster, butter, rice, boom, and watch what happens. Man, what a spread. It was a great party. They put a lot of money into this. Oh, if you come from the Hispanic, forget about it. You ask somebody, how's so-and-so doing? We have a saying, está bien gordo. He's super fat, he's doing wonderful. So even in our culture, we see a heavy person, a person of abundance that has had a good life, plenty to eat, that we say, está bien, está gordo. You know? So it's cultural. So food. Food, and that is the price that nobody wants to pay, because that's a 24/7 war. Exercise, you come in here, you hammer hard for an hour and a half. Any person will give you an hour and a half of the dedicated ones. It's when you go home and 11 o'clock rolls around and you get that thing where you want to shake the refrigerator. Who's staying away from that at that time? And the person who stays away from that is the person that gets the body composition changes that they're looking for. Person that can't stick with that gets strong, gets fit, but gets gordo. All right? Next one. All right? Now, the next 2 hours. We're here for close to 2 hours. What do you want to make sure we cover? Come on, talk to me. Squats? What do you want to cover in the squats? From beginning to a high level? All right. What else?
The types of training, like ballistics, super slopes, things like that.
Okay.
Assessing, evaluating, doing the evaluation.
Okay. The evaluation, I'm telling you right now, I mean, I can do it with one of you. You're going to see the same thing. If you want, I'll be more than happy to bring somebody up. We'll do all these movements. I want a deconditioned person, somebody who hates to exercise and doesn't do it. Anybody here? All right. All right, give me somebody like my sister. Hates to exercise, but she'll do it under duress. She got my sister. All right, come on. We'll evaluate somebody real quick. We'll take 15 minutes, 10 minutes to evaluate somebody. And I'll show you, and you're going to go, that's it? And I'm going to go, that's it. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to be impressed, but I got to show it to you for you to see that you're not impressed. I got to prove it to you, right? Okay, come on, give me one person. Come on up. He's all wired on Dunkin' Donuts coffee. He's going to be, hey, you want this? I can do 10. He's a fit guy, so we're going to see very little. But hey, you know what? It's the way it is. All right, he comes on in. Hi, how are you doing? Make sure that I look at the PAR-Q. By the way, it's not a PAR-Q. It's an extensive health screening instrument. That's what you sign. You see what I asked for? Basic contraindications, basic risk factors. And at the end of the day, it's like, dude, do I have to know anything? Has there been recent injuries? Are you on severe medications? Do we have an orthopedic problem? If the answer is no, 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 which they probably forgot or are lying about, that's all you've got, okay? So, first thing I do is, give me here, face me. So I'm right now, stand on your favorite leg, okay? Do an anterior reach. I want your left hand to touch your right toe. There you go. Back up. Do it 10 times for me. Face the crowd. Face the crowd. Come on, baby. All right. Come on now. Without putting that left leg down, give me 10 of them. You can already see the same thing we talked about. Yay? Got it? All right, great. Go to the other side. Give me the same thing. What do we get to see from here? There's a lot more external deviation on the right knee than the left. Okay? He chose the wrong favorite leg. Because him, just out of curiosity, you're right-handed. If he's right-handed, his left leg is the strongest. Because he's been kicking with the right leg all his life. All right? And with his right leg all his life, that means his left leg has been stabilizing the entire body. And you can see from that squat that I could predict that he's a right-handed person because his leg, his strong leg, is the left leg, not the original leg he chose. Which is kind of weird because most people, if you say stand on one leg, I go to my strong leg automatically. He went to the weak leg. Doesn't matter. When he gave it to you, how many reps did it take for him to even get a couple in a row with the left? 3, 4. Right, the left came along, bam, he hammered 10 with no problem. Right off the bat, I know what the weak hip is, and I know what the strong hip is. Okay, what's my easiest way to approach that asymmetry or that imbalance, whatever you want to call it? We're going to be doing anterior reaches to the tune of 3 sets of 20 in every single workout. It's that simple. It's going to start correcting that. Very easy. What am I looking for? I'm going to put them, here's the first day. Oh, very good. Now I know what I know. Okay? Face the mirror. Okay? Now, can you see, I want you to face it in a way where you can see what's your weak leg again? The right, yes? Yeah. Okay, now, get in there and give me 5, no, I'm sorry, stay here. Look forward and give me 5 reps the same way from the left arm to the right leg, but use the mirror and keep that knee in line. Yeah, use the mirror. Use the mirror as a cue. Good. Get down, boom. Get down, boom. All right, let this leg go further back. I'm going to let him use, there you go. He can get lower. Why? By taking that free leg back, I just engaged more glute, more hamstrings, gave him a little bit more musculature. He was controlling stuff at the knee, wasn't using his butt. Yes, sir?
How do you proceed? I don't know about other people, but a lot of my clients couldn't even do one of them, so they start.
So the first thing I do is, let's say that he's 60 years old. I don't even know if he can do it. Stand on one leg for me, please. And you look at that. And they're like, on one, they're like this. On the other one, they're more solid. I get the same information from a single leg balance that I get now. He's an advanced guy. You know I can do anterior reaches. But if he comes across as a 60-year-old or a 55 that may be out of shape in the body of a 70, you know, I'm going to go, give me a balance first. As soon as he went like this, I knew that he could balance. The anterior reach is the next thing. Now, they could reach to the thigh, low thigh, knee, shin, ankle. So there's your progression in range of motion. But the information is the same. Yes?
You don't work that 62-year-old the same way that you're testing it, right? You would just do the small.
Yeah, so if they're here, let's say that they get in here, they can't even do this. You go, well, Carlos, you can't assess. I go, what are you talking about? I just assessed. They have no single leg stability. For balance, pumps. Okay? Now, let's go on to a little something here, and let's go single leg squat, which he was already doing. Face the crowd. Get on, let's do the good knee here. Bam. All right, now, if I want to just see quad development, which I'd never do, bring the knee up. Boom. Now give me a single leg squat. As low as you can go and under control with no pain. What are you seeing? The knee going in and out. Who's controlling that knee? Boom. All right, go to the other side. Okay. Watch this. Go ahead. Bingo. Now, here's the kicker. Strong hip, strong quad. Makes sense. Because if he's got a weak hip, who's the only other muscle that can help? Quad. So normally when you see weak hip, you're going to see a strong quad. When you see a strong hip, he dominates at the hip here. The knee doesn't have to flex as much. And you saw that in anterior reaching, weak here, strong here. Non-counterbalanced single leg squat, strong here, weak here. Let's validate that. Now, give me 3 or 4 single leg squats with a free leg back. This is a counterbalance. This is where I'm going to bring in his glutes. Keep the foot back. Okay? Good. Now go to the other leg. You can just see. Look how apprehensive he is. He doesn't want to go down. Look at that knee. That foot's coming off the ground because he can't control the knee. There's your validation. Okay, so through all of this wisdom that we have, we came up with this. He's got a butt that doesn't work. He's got a quad that doesn't work, or doesn't work as nice as the other one. Well, what are we going to do, man? Well, you got to counterbalance squat them, non-counterbalance squat them on both sides. Focus on the quad on both. Focus on the hip on both. Make them as well-rounded as you can, and let God sort it out. Everything else is out of your hands. You got 3 hours, 2 hours a week with this person. What do you think? You're going to change the theory of relativity? No. You got 2 hours out of 168 to impact this guy. What you got is what you got. That's it. You came to a gunfight with a knife. And all you can do is slash the living daylights out of the situation. That's it. You know, if you don't have a teeth, you got to gum that pizza to death. It's all you've got. So, all right? So that's kind of what you see. That's how we approach it. Now, let's go. This is why you do a single leg. Face them. Let's go prisoner position, hands behind your back. Good. Just give me a couple of squats. Give me 10 squats. And I can see it, but it's so small that it would be like what Gary used to say. Hey, Carlos, come over here. And he'd show me a young lady squatting, and she'd like deviate her butt a little. What do you see? I see the butt moving a little bit to the right. Watch. See, but it's like this. Now, what happens with a female that has loose pants or a guy who's got loose pants? You won't even see that. Now what? What are you going to ask him, to get naked? You can't. So you go, I think I see this. You already saw it on the single leg. You don't need to squat them. It's done. But if you want to validate, I wonder, when you have that issue, what you squat like, you squat them and you see what you would expect. He's going to probably run away from the weak hip. And he's going to sink it into his strong, which is what we saw. Okay? His left hip is strongest. So he had the tendency to dip a little over to the left. But you know what? You can't predict that with 100% certainty. Why? Because some people run away from their weakness, and other people collapse into their weakness. So now what? You don't know what's which. At the end of the day, we got hip issues. These are the exercises that I'm giving this guy no matter what. Single leg anterior reaches for the backside. Single leg non-counterbalanced squats for the front side. I'm also going to go back here for the backside. Lateral reaching lunges. Take that ball. Lateral reaching lunges. Yep. Right to the toes. There you go. Over here. Keep your toes facing forward so I can force the hips to internally rotate. Everybody wants the toes out, because as soon as you do toe out, you put the hips where they're comfortable, where they're sitting. I make him stand, and you can see where he doesn't like to come off. He doesn't like to come off this side. This is his strong quad, weak back. He loves going down here, but every time he comes down here, he doesn't come back with the same pop.
You can see it rotate out.
No doubt.
I know all this.
Yeah.
You can see it when I lunge this way. This foot wants to
Yeah.
move.
And if you force it, his shoes will stretch. Look, Those are the little things you look for. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you see. The movement is the movement is the movement, and it fixes what it fixes what it fixes. And no matter how much you know or how much you don't know, once you do it, it's in there. So that would be my strategy to handle what I see in the anterior, in the single leg squat, anterior reach, and in the squat. Now, let's try the lunges. What do you think we're going to see? I think, well, you know what? I'm not going to say nothing. Let's look. Let's look. Prisoner position to force you to be in the straight. There you go. All right. And now, if he moves slow and he can fake it really good, speed him up. Go quick now. You can see that that left side comes up a lot faster than that right side. Now, good. I didn't know what I was going to find. Why? Because I really don't know what comes in faster, the quads to knee extend or the hips to hip extend. So that's kind of tough. I thought that maybe him having the strong quad on that right side with a weak hip, I thought he might be able to pop it back up off the front a little quicker. But it looks to me like in him, the hip dictates how he moves. And that front squat doesn't seem to make a huge difference on how he pops back up out of a traditional lunge. Why did I choose the traditional lunge? Because I knew what was going to happen on the bent over lunge, because the bent over lunge is hip dominant. But the upright prisoner position is not as hip dominant because it involves a lot of knee flexion. So therefore, the quad has to push back. I didn't know what I was going to find. I thought maybe that strong quad might help. We saw the same thing. Pops off the back, off the left side really fast. The left side really fast, the right side kind of slow. So you can now see what in here. Now, usually, when you have a strong hip here, okay? You know Olympic weightlifting? Mm-hmm. Anything? Mm-hmm. All right, stand neutral. Imagine you have a bar on your shoulders. Do a split jerk. Just one. Pow! Done. That's all I wanted to know. What leg did he choose to go forward? Left side, hip. Knowing that, I'm going to think that that iliopsoas up front is the one that likes eccentric loading. I would venture to think that this one hates it. This is the strong butt. That's the strong hip. That's the strong quad. Isn't it weird? Strong back, strong front on opposite sides. All right, you want to validate that? All right, look at me. Let's get on that right leg. Hands over the top. Reach back a little bit. Back and forth, back and forth. Good. Give me some reps. Good. 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 Let's go to the other one. You can already see it. I already saw it on that first one. Although he's doing pretty good, do it. Do you see the difference? Go the other leg. Give me 3, just 3. I already saw what I want. Okay, now go to the other one. There it is. Okay? Now you've just validated. Strong front, weak front. Strong back, weak back. Okay, now that you validated that, now what do? I got to do overhead reaches with both sides. What are you going to take that strong side and say, no, we're not doing anything with that. That's like taking a mom that's 6 months post, right? Been carrying the baby on this dumb left arm because this is the one that fixes the baba. This is the one that extends the blanket. This is the one that opened the door. This is the one that does everything. This is the one that carries the baby. The baby's gone from 6 pounds to 7 pounds to 8 pounds to 11 pounds to 20 pounds by 6 months. Now she goes, I want my body back. She hires you or you, and she comes and says, give me some stuff. And you say, you know what, I'm going to just kind of, regular stuff. Let's do some dumbbell curls. You give her 10 pounds, and this one's like, boom, 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 boom. And this one here is like, at number 8, it's going, what do you do? What do you do? Do you give her 15 and 10? Do you give her 4 sets versus 2 sets? No, you say, look, I know that left side is your strong side. You could probably handle 20-pound dumbbells since your baby weighs 20 pounds now. But you know what? we're going to start with 10s and let that left side or let that right side catch up. It'll catch up. You're a strong lady. You're young. It'll catch up in about 3 or 4 weeks. Then, when we both get to 15s, then we'll talk about 17 and 20 pounds. Is that the approach you use? Yes or no? If that's the approach you use, then what's the difference? You don't care what the problem is. Obviously, there's a strong side and there's a weak side. What do you do? This is what sets us apart from physical therapists. Coaches and trainers deal with asymmetrical issues in a symmetrical manner. If we got a strong left side, we go right, left. Right? If we got a strong right side, we go right, left. And we let things sort themselves out over 3 or 4 weeks. What do physical therapists do? What's that mentality? Hit the problem area. Fix the problem area, understanding that it's rarely the problem area's fault. And then what happens is we have much better results than physical therapists because we treat the whole body. And once you make the hip strong, the shoulder has to work less on a serve. Once you make the leg strong, the lumbar spine has to work less on a lift. And so by giving people this comprehensive total body performance training, we make everybody more athletic. And so all of a sudden the shoulder problems goes away and you think it was the shoulder exercise, and it wasn't. Because this guy here, if he tries to serve and the dominant side that needs to load up is that front weak side, he is coming up with shoulder problems guaranteed. Guaranteed. Now, I don't know which side is the front that needs to be working on tennis. I don't know. But you know what? I don't care. I'll make them both strong. And let him go play tennis and go like this. Hope he's all right. That's all we've got, okay? Now, let's go to the push-up. Give me a couple. Solid. What am I looking for? Toes, ankles, locked up knee, butt down, nice curvature here, good. And the scaps don't come out of the body. A lot of times you see scapulas bulging out. That means they have no protraction strength. Well, what's the best thing to create protraction strength? Push-up. So if they suck on the floor, I'm going to put them on a bench. Real simple. You know, I'm going to put them here. So if my mom, she's 75, comes in, what do you think? I'm going to test her on the floor? You got to be kidding. At 75, honey, have you done anything? No, I hate to exercise. What am I thinking? Everything at easy levels. This is where my mom works out. Bang, 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 and I'll get the volume up. Neural pattern training. Get it, get it. I'll get her on her toes. Why? Because the push-up will tell you how they gait. Why? Because if they can't do this on a push-up, what happens on the toe off in the human gait cycle? And if they can't toe off, what happens? You get a 3 stride on one side, 4 foot stride on the other. 3 foot on one side, 4 on the other. What implications will that have on the lumbar spine and SI joint? So all of a sudden, somebody comes up with a back issue after they've taken up jogging, and you think it's a bad back, and nobody checked what kind of range of motion they have at the first joint of their foot, or the ankle. So I can see toes issues, ankle issues, then I lock up the knees so I can see hip issues. Now, do it again. Face me. And bingo, there it is. His hips are tilted. Where do you think they're tilted to? Okay? They're tilted, let me see. He's got the strong front right. He's tilted here. Here. Why? I don't know why. That's his strong front side. He went to where he was strong. He took it off where he was weak. Does that mean you'll see that all the time? No. Sometimes people will collapse to the weak side. And you go, aha, that's your strong side. They go, no. How do you validate it? Posterior reaches, lunges. Okay? So there is my push-up. Those are the types of things I'm looking for. Not only from the side, but you can go from the front. And what I do a lot of times is I get in here where the shoulders are here and the butt is like right behind. It's like a mountain behind a mountain. And I see if both mountains are the same size. So in other words, when I see the shoulder line that does this, and I see the butt line, well, the middle better be above that spine, because if it's off to the side, I'm going, there's some deviation somewhere in the core. If I see this butt cheek really tall and this one disappear behind the shoulders, then I'm going, he's tilted. So that's why the first time I saw him from the side, the next time I see him from the front. And those are little things that you learn. Great. But I'm telling you right now, the information you get from all these little cool validations and assessments means nothing in what I'm going to do. We already knew it. We already knew it when we got him on a single leg. And the same thing keeps up popping up, popping up. It's like, okay, man, if it pops up 1, good for me. 2, I'm a friggin' genius. 3, 4, 5, 6, it's getting boring. Get me on to the next issue. But you can see that maybe you pushed them up and they showed you the hip, you didn't need to squat them. Maybe you did a single leg squat, you don't need to squat them. You got what you needed. Maybe you do a recline pull, you don't need to do a push-up. Because you got what. So what I'm teaching you is that from all of these movements, you can get information. From everything you do, you can get information. So every rep is an assessment tool to see where they've come from, where they're going, when the next progression should be in line, and how they're coming along. In simple terms, if when they started they could do 10-pound dumbbells and 3 weeks later doing 15-pound dumbbells, you go, wow, you're getting stronger. There's the proof. Well, the same thing here in these movements. Yes, sir?
Do you view core as part of being integrated into part of that, or do you view it as something separate to the address position?
No, I just see the core, sternum to knees, and it's involved in everything. Somebody asked me, are we going to cover stability training? I go, it's all there. How can it do an anterior reach if the hips are not stable? The less stable the hips are, the uglier the exercise looks, and you go, wow, he's got no butt. That wow comes from the lack of stability that you see. Well, how do you go, wow, he's got a strong butt? Shows you better movement. What does that mean? The hips are stable. So everything we do is based on stability above and below the focus point that we're looking at. Okay? All right, let's recline pull. For just simplicity, we'll come in here. Sorry. All right, let's do it here. Heads over here, feet over here. And this is something obviously that I don't have to tell you, but always this way so it goes into here, not pulling away. Great. All right, move your feet back some more. Good. So what I'm looking, a little bit back more. So what I'm looking is, I want that bar right where that line is. Bingo. Okay? And so already what I'm seeing, and it's not due to weaknesses, he just hasn't learned how to concentrate on yet, and he's already doing it, is when he first came down on a couple, he had flexion at the hip. In other words, he didn't have enough spinal stability to decelerate and change directions. So that momentum caused a little hip flexion, but he caught it because he realized that he couldn't pull on these guys unless this was stable, and we'll talk about that. Perfect. In this situation, I'll tell him, give me an arch, give me a bridge. I don't even want you at neutral. Give me as much extension as it takes to lengthen the abdominals, but not create any spinal pain. I don't want pain in the lumbar spine. But if you can give me a little bridge like you look when you're doing a stability ball bridge, which is, not the golden arches of McDonald's, but it is a hyperextension in a way. I'm all for that little hyperextension as long as it doesn't cause any pressure or pain. Why? Because we know now from the research and the band research that I did with Dr. Stu McGill pointed in this direction, and I can show you this, like here, proof anytime you want, is the following. When we destabilize the core, these muscles turn off. When we destabilize the core, the glute and butt turn off. All right? And I can prove this to you. I can prove it to you by doing unstable training. As soon as I put unstable training in there and I destabilize these joints, all of a sudden you can't move with strength because the central nervous system picks up lack of stability and inhibits the major muscle groups involved in the movement. One of the reasons that if you design a bodybuilding dominated exercise that makes strong, but you don't pay attention to the stability, all these guys are governed by that brain. And if the brain picks up instability here, it will not let you push and will not let you pull. The research that we have is from a standing environment here, pushing, the chest will fire at 25% of maximum voluntary contraction because the firing of the chest is limited to what the core can take. The core musculature fires anywhere between 75 and 85% of the maximum voluntary contraction. This guy here, on a standing press, 25%. Flip it around and put him on a bench press, then it's the other way around. The chest fires at 85, all right? The core doesn't fire. Fires at 25, 10%, 15%. Okay? So what am I doing by this recline pull? I want him to understand that the paraspinals and hip have to be stabilized here before this lat can pull. If I give you oversized grips, or if I give you anything in here where you can't grab, the lat will be inhibited. That's why if you do pull-ups on those oversized grips there, those big black grips, and you don't have grip, the brain picks up instability at the wrist and inhibits the latissimus, and you can't do the pull-up. Okay? Nail bending. Nail bending requires hip wrist stability in the frontal plane of the wrist. If you don't have that, it doesn't matter how strong your back is, you can't bend the nail. Why? Because the wrist is unstable, brain won't fire. That was my issue. That's one of the reasons I'm learning how to do that now. And one of the reasons that my next research is on gripping. Because if we can prove that instabilities here will inhibit major muscle group here, then it's not a far stretch to say, hey, instabilities here will inhibit anything up here. You got it? All right. Last two things, last 5 minutes. Let's go with pivot and no pivot. Now, think about this. What was a strong hip? Strong front, weak back. Okay? Let's see what happens when we test the hips in rotation. Take the ball. All right? And I'm going to give them real instructions. Normally, I just say do this because I want to see what they do naturally. But I'm going to give this guy instructions, plus he knows this material. And if we can still see it on him that's fit, knows this material, and getting real instructions, imagine what we'll find somebody coming off the street. I mean, they'll be carrying billboards. I have this wrong with me, okay? So let's face the crowd, and this is what I want. Both feet facing forward. When you rotate, I want you to create a T as much as you can with your feet. Plant here, and what I need you to do is become real smooth. Okay. I think I can see it even. All right. If you pay attention to the ball, you see nothing. Because he's smart enough, fit guy, he's following instructions. And he's going to say, well, I want to be as symmetrical as possible. So since he's giving me the ball, I'm going to let the ball do the talking. And so he'll bring the ball here, and then he says, all right, there, I got to bring it over here. If you look at his feet, they're pretty cool because they don't show a whole lot. Watch, go ahead. Okay, if you look at his feet, it shows you that that hip over there is the tight hip. And this hip is the loose hip. Look at that pivot on the left foot. That left foot pivot is huge. This one here, he's locked. Okay? Internal rotation. You got to pay attention to the opposite hip. So if this one here rotates a whole lot more, now, is he getting the internal rotation from that hip or this hip? And I can't tell. It doesn't make sense. His strong hip should be the more flexible hip. But the feet, the ball shows me nothing. The feet shows me that his most flexible hip is the right hip. Now, I'm not saying that it couldn't be, because maybe a weak hip could be very flexible, but that just doesn't, that goes against the grain with me. So then I look at his butt and what angle his butt is forming on each side. And he gets more rotation at the hip when he goes in that direction. Okay?
Could we see that?
Sure, let's turn around. And this one here, you got to catch because he's got loose clothing on and you can't tell. You would have to go like this. Hold on. All right, let's see if I'm a liar. You make me a liar now. I see a lot more rotation when he comes to this side. Yes? Okay? That's his strong hip, which would make sense. Strong joints are flexible joints.
Would you be asking them what they're feeling when they're doing some of this?
Nope. A lot of times you can pick up what they're feeling with facial expressions, movement, changes of pattern. Talk is cheap. They'll tell you, I always say, any man can give you a 1-hour rap. They can be anybody. They can be Casanova for an hour. Move in with them and see them keep that up for 30 days. So then it's a whole different ballgame. You'll see who does their laundry, who picks up after themselves and everything, right? Who pulls chairs, open doors, you know? But that's what I saw. That's what I saw, and it makes sense, and it validates, again, strength is flexibility. So if somebody's tight, I'm not going to stretch them. I'm going to move them and give them the strength, because the body will not give you ranges of motion that it can't control. It's a pattern of protection, and it's at the higher brain orders. You can't help it.
So if you just did me here, how would you tomorrow, well, what would the first session look like?
Probably the first session would be, let's say, I would choose 3 exercises, 3 to 4 exercises, and create a little circuit, assuming that we were just going to do functional training. This guy's fitness, I don't care if I touch iron. Great. Then I would give him some squatting, because he's got a weak butt. He got a weak core front, weak core back. So what are we doing? Here we go. I get 4 exercises and do 3 sets of 10 on each one. Select my other 4, 3 sets of 10. Select my other 4, 3 sets of 10. So I go 4 times 3, 12. 24, 36 sets in an hour, assuming they're healthy. If I'm dealing with a 70-year-old, we may go 3 for 2, 3 for 2, 3 for 2. So that would be 6, 12, 18 sets in the entire hour, plenty of rest. Done deal. Every week, I progress them in speed, I progress them in load, I progress them in range, and we don't know where we're going from there, as far as they can go. Yes?
I have a client with a previous hip injury with some ossification.
Right.
So would it make sense she can't ever do any of the things? Would it make sense to fix it?
If it, number one, and we'll get to that when we come back, but look, ossification, is that diagnosed with an MRI? They can't diagnose ossification with an MRI. They can see possibly some spurring going on, but you can't see anything until you go in with a scope. So for them to say, well, they got adhesive tissue and they got calcification and this, show me. Because a lot of times those are terms that that are used without any proof. My thing is, I don't know if it's capsular, I don't know if it's ossification, I don't know if it's spurring, so I only have, what I have is movement. And the rules that I have to play by are 3. A, I don't make the client cry, okay? I don't hurt the client, and I don't kill the client. Don't make them cry means I don't do anything to emotionally bring them down. Every day at IHP is a great day. They look beautiful. They're doing wonderful. Even if they suck at an exercise, that was a great 10 reps. Now let's try this other version. I give them a lower version. I don't say no. Hey, since you can't do that, let's give you something easier. No. Great job. Let's try something different. Boom. That's how I bring them away from their defaults. Don't make them cry is the emotion. Don't hurt them is the progression. I don't put 300 pounds on a back that can only take 100. Real simple. I don't put somebody on a single leg that can't handle 2 legs. And don't kill them means you don't violate any of the 2 above, because they're gone. You can't help them. They make you no money. You can't impact their lives. It's a lose-lose. All right? In terms of progression, the only thing that I have is pain. If they're not in pain, I'm doing it. If they're not inflamed, I'm doing it. And if they're making slight gains, I'm doing it. And as long as I follow those criteria, I don't refer to anybody.
You good?
You're good. You got it? All right. Boom, little break. We come back. Now we start doing modalities, exercises, and stuff like that. Okay? Here's stability training, but what the young man asked was, when do you use wobble boards, Dynadisc, Bosu balls, stability balls to create unstable training environment? You have to differentiate between balance and function, okay? In other words, is stability needed to be able to balance? The answer is yes. You got to stabilize each joint so we can tell the joint, move a little bit over so you can stay over this base of support. You're able to do it. So you need stability, but if you put EMGs on it, all right, it's very low-level stability. In other words, the muscles are whispering, move over to the right, move over to the right. That's just about right. Boom, boom. When you lock up with an opponent, when you're picking up a kid that's running this way, remember, a 25-pound kid running diagonal, jumping on grandma, is equivalent to you handling a 300-pound lineman in the NFL. Because the kid's coming with motion, it's coming fast, jumping, taking grandma into the transverse plane, big deal. It's the equivalent to wrestling. Full board, two healthy guys, okay? That kind of stability, if you read the EMGs at the core, at the hip, it's like a spike. Boom! You don't find that in balance training. So if you want to do balance training for that tight proprioceptive stuff, great. Do some balance training. But don't think that that balance training at low level stability is going to help you tackle the big movements, explosive movements like surfing, swinging a golf club, etc. It ain't going to happen. It's two different types of stability. So we do about 2% unstable training environment in that regard, where I stand people up on a wobble board and that kind of stuff. I use it as rest periods. Why? I think balance training is good. How good? Not sure. You know? But I think it's good. I think it certainly can't hurt. And I think if I got to give somebody a 30-second break before they do the next set of squat, what better way to give them a break than put them on a balancing piece of equipment? Keeps them moving, heart rate, neurologically engaged, etc. Okay? So I do most of my stuff grounded. Grounded. If I could nail your feet to the ground and load you up with 30 extra pounds, I would do it. So most of my stuff that's high-level stability is on the ground with good rooting. The next issue is flexibility versus how do you get flexibility out of your functional training? Now that's where we're coming in. I need 3 individuals. We're going to show them 3 exercises, strength exercises, assessment exercises, and flexibility moves. I need 3. Let's go. All right. You're over here, body weight. You're over here, take the 15-pound dumbbells. And you're over here. Ah, yes. Let's go. You see those little dumbbells over there? Yep. Grab those. Okay. Over here at the end, we're going to use hamstring flexibilities. Normally, if you want flexible hamstrings, what do they tell you to do? Toe touches, etc. Right? Now, my question to you is, from a function perspective, do you want to win a bar tab and put your head between your knees? Or do you want to lengthen the hamstrings so they decelerate you in a low shot in tennis? What kind of hamstrings do you want? Me, I want the hamstring that allows me to do some garden work down in here, drag somebody, pick up my kid, tie my shoes, get to that low shot. Yes? Anterior reaching lunges. I need you to take a big step, little knee bend. As a matter of fact, keep your knee right above your ankle. Good. And now reach those dumbbells down. Perfect. Come back up and do it with the other leg. Boom.
Oh, step back? Yeah,
step back. All right. Good hip, but too much knee flexion. What do I want? I want to lengthen the hamstrings, get those butt muscles strong, and the paraspinal. So what I'm asking is big step, little knee bend. There you go. Now get everything else from the hip. You gave me big knee bend again. This is what it needs to look like. Big step, little knee bend. Watch where it's coming from. Ah, boom. Little knee bend. Yes. Where do you feel it now? Voila. Now, is that hamstring strengthening? Or is that hamstring flexibility? Or is it both? Now, if you want more quads, do the same thing. Give me more knee bend. Boom. So let's say that he's got a pulled hamstring. Oh, Carlos, that hurts. Give him more knee bend. Less hamstring. As he gets better, tighten up the front knee. Tighten up the front knee until you've got those going. Got it? All right, over here, push-ups. We're going to do rotational push-ups. Give me a push-up, and then you're going to come out of the rotation like this. Boom. Boom. Got it? All right, let's go. Perfect. Now open up your legs a little bit. Great. Now when you come down and rotate, I want you to rotate. No. Stay with your feet flat. And there you go. Good. And keep the body nice and straight. Wow. Now, what does that do to the chest? So we don't need the door stretch anymore, do we? While he's lengthening, he has to keep that shoulder packed. So now it's not only stretching, it's stretching while you're stabilized, which is what we need. If he falls and he plants and he's going to go in here to break that fall, he better stabilize that shoulder, because if not, That humerus is going to go right into his ear. No good. No sense in breaking the fall at that point. Okay? If he's playing football, go that way. And he needs to follow me around here, I better have my shoulder stabilized. Because if not, he'll dislocate my shoulder. Not a good thing. So here is an exercise, calisthenic, a push-up, that with a little rotation, it's wonderful. Now let's say he doesn't have that flexibility. Now what I need you to do is just pop it and just give me a little one. And then we'll progress it, and then we're gonna show you for like our wrestlers, extreme range, what we can do. Just a little bit. Boom, there you go. All right, now on the next one, arm all the way up. There. Now we got 180, right? Give me one more on the other side. Push up, 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 up. Not back, up. Great. Now, extreme ranges of motion for extreme applications like wrestlers, mixed martial arts guys, judo players, jiu-jitsu, guys that get really tweaked up. What I need you to do is once you come around, take a back step on the top leg. So we're going in here. Boom, boom. Now watch. Okay. Now I've got a hypermobility situation when appropriate. I think he's pretty good because he showed me huge ranges on the first one. There you go. Looks like a gymnastics move, doesn't it? You've seen this before on the gymnastics floor. So a little bit overstep, the top leg is now driving the hip, which drives the shoulder around a fixed point, which is his hand. What shoulder am I really tweaking? Not the one that's reaching, but the one that's anchored to the ground, right? All right, now, on your knees. As a matter of fact, let me get this so your knees are nice and cushioned. There you go. And this could be a stability ball or anything like that. No, we're going to put him this way. Okay, now, I don't know if he's strong enough. We'll figure it out. Roll to here and back. Great. Doing good. Roll to here and back. Good. Come on, baby. Yes! Boom. Now, there you go. Is that shoulder flexibility? Yes? Because I think it is. Done. Is it strength? Yeah. Now, let's say advanced. Great job. Thank you for making me look good, because the last thing I need is for a guy to do this and both shoulders pop out of his butt. That wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be good. But if I want to say, all right, Carlos, that rollout with them things, that's an advanced exercise. What about my 70-year-old that comes in? They need shoulder flexibility. None of them can do that. Throw me that stability ball. All right, somebody with bad shoulders, come on up. Come on, quick, quick, quick. Somebody who doesn't like shoulder training, come on up. All right, somebody that can pretend like they have shoulder problems, come on up. Come on. There you go. Beautiful. All right, so what we do is we have the rollout, which is that progression, on a stability ball up in here. So, right in here. Great. We put the hands in here. And now, just push the ball up. Let it roll. Great. And now back. Now, don't walk it, just roll it.
Just roll it.
Boom. There. That's it. That's it. My mom can do that. Now, as she gets her feet back, now if we want to get it a little difficult, go ahead. And she'll tell you it picked up steam. And then if I get her feet back a little bit more, come in here, picks up more steam. Got it? Now, my next progression is from here, knees over here. So I've shortened the lever arm, and she's going to do what she can in here. Voila. And then as you get stronger, on the feet, all the way out. Got it? So these are examples of functional training. Is that core stability? Yeah. Absolutely. Is that shoulder flexibility? Absolutely. How far up with the shoulders can you go? As far as you want to. As far as you can handle. So is that shoulder strength? Yes. So where do you draw the distinction between only flexibility work and actual strengthening? That anterior reach that he was doing, what if we did that with 40 pounds, 50-pound dumbbells, 60-pound dumbbells with some of our fighters? All right? What if we did that with body weight with my mom? Is it still the anterior reach? Yes, it is. So you have all these progressions, range of motion, lever arms, how you can change lever arms from a standing and sitting down position, from a kneeling and foot positions. Those are all the little things that you can do to make an exercise appropriate for the population, but it's still the same concept. Strength training is flexibility training, and we move people to functional ranges of motion. All right? Thank you. Next issue. Now, we're going into some big protocols.